tener la esperanza de un mundo sin sufrir y más cumbia mexicana. No me echen la culpa a mí.
Now what you all can see right there is a big white fuzzy piece of Doug. Really fuzzy. Hey everybody, Kyle here with Spicer Designs. Welcome back to the channel. Oh, that's not happening. Welcome back to the shop build out. This is part 3. In part 3, I was supposed to be redoing all of the electrical on this wall. Instead, I'm going to be ripping off all of this interior framing and redoing it because whoever did it is a dingleberry. Must have been their first time doing any kind of carpentry work. Yeah, definitely the first time. It's a shame. Now, if you missed the first 2 episodes, I got the new c-aire compressor hooked up, ran all of the Rapid Air Maxline air lines in the wall, and got a couple of drops set up throughout the shop. And these air drops aren't completely finished yet. I still have a little bit more work to do. And on the second episode, I installed a 100 amp sub panel over here on this wall that we're about to redo. So if you missed those videos, check them out. So here's the issue. Whoever framed this, it looks like crap. And I'm gonna have to redo it because I have a problem. I'm not gonna spend all this money on tongue and groove, red cedar, and all this steel and do all this work and have it go like this all the way down the wall. First thing, there is a little bit of rodent damage. It's not bad. You can see a bunch of little chips of the spray foam. Lots of rodent pee-pee and poo-poo. They obviously don't know where the toilet's at in here. And they use these chintzy, crappy plastic boxes. So those are going bye-bye. Now this wall right here is the gable wall. So the trusses are going parallel with this wall. So that post, that post, that post, and that post, they are all shorter width-wise than they are long. So they're 5.5 deep, and they're about 4.5 wide, because you have 3 2x6s that are just laminated or sandwiched together. Now once we go over to the adjacent wall, right there, where the trusses actually land on the posts, these 3 stacked 2x6s also turn that way. You can see that we're 3 wide right here, and then that all turns, and we're 3 wide going this way. And what happens by doing that is, as this inner girt here sits on the face of that post, it comes in, and it should be about 1 inch off of that one, which if you look, it's about 1 inch off of that. I know that's kind of confusing, but just hang with me here and I'll show you maybe a little bit better of an example. So as we come to the other corner of the building, hopefully you can see this. That inner girt is sitting on the face of that post, and then as it goes further, that inner girt curves in 1 inch, and they actually landed it on the face of that one, even though it turned the other direction. Basically, they that corner specifically. That corner, it's okay. It's still not great. The other problem, which I addressed in the last video, I was concerned that they may have used all of their leftover crappy 2x4s to basically frame out these inner walls, and they did. So probably 80% of these inner girts, these 2x4s, a lot of them are 16 footers. They're all just all over the place. They're all warped, wavy, and it looks like crap. So I'm gonna rip all of these off, the entire wall, and completely redo it. Well, this is where I'm gonna leave it for the night. I got all of those inner girts ripped off, except for one right there. I'm going to crack that air valve just a little bit and just let it drain out all through the night. After I pulled off all this lumber, I was able to confirm it is absolute crap. It's all twisted, warped. It's pretty bad. Anytime you buy 16-foot 2x4s, it's gonna be very rare that you can find a straight one. That kind of length, it's just almost impossible. So I'm gonna head in for the night and watch the big IU game with the girls. At this point, you already know if they won or not, and some of you don't care, including me. First thing in the morning, I'm gonna make a trip to Menards. See you in a couple seconds. Colder than a beaver's butthole out here. Menards, 15% bag. Work gloves. Tapcons. Sill sealer. Lube. Oh yeah. Nothing better than a good pair of leather gloves. I like going to Menards for lumber because they typically have pretty decent lumber. And I like that you can just go out into the yard and load it directly in your truck or trailer. You only have to handle it one time. Or if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you got to load it onto the cart. Then you got to go to your truck, you got to unload it and load it into there again, and then come home and unload it again. I just feel like it's a big waste of time. So Menards it is. Still been really loving these Rhino retractable ratchet straps. I bought these, not sponsored, but I will leave a link for these in the comments or in the description somewhere. I got them on Amazon. Voila. There we have it. We have 15 2x4x8s and 25 2x4x10s. Those things are all hand-picked, straight as an arrow. Now, if you have crooked wood, that's okay. You can still work with that. Some actually prefer crooked wood. The problem is they might be getting cut with a right-hand blade, and you might just have to switch it up to a left-hand blade. That might straighten it out. It might be too far gone. You just never know. And check this out, all my Ford lovers. You guys are always making fun of my Chevy for squatting, and I throw just I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 sheets of this. I don't know if it's Smart Side or what it is. It actually is kind of heavy. And this thing is squatting like a Chevy right now. I'm kind of nervous the frame's just gonna snap in half. Must be a Ford thing. I got some of the layout done, and I brought some tools out here to the shop. Some woodworking tools that I normally like to keep out of here, but I need them. So I have the 12-inch sliding compound miter saw. I love this thing. I do need a new blade though. And this tool right here. Now listen, if I were gonna recommend any tool that you buy, if you don't already have one of these, it would be this, a self-leveling laser. I've had this thing for probably a decade, so it's lasted a while. This is a Bosch GLL50. I think I got it from Menards. But I use this thing all the time, pretty much on every project, and they're really not that expensive. I mean, you could spend a lot of money on it if you want. It makes laying out walls, getting elevations, so many different applications you could use something like this on. I'll leave an Amazon link for this down in the description, along with some other options from, like, you know, maybe a more budget friendly versus a nicer quality. Good gift for dad, hubby, peepaw. So being that there's a possibility that these posts may not be perfectly on the same plane, so what I did on this wall was I shot a plumb laser line up. There is a board that is mounted on the face of these posts, and that is what all of that metal trim is mounted to accept all of the ceiling steel. And that is my furthest point to the outside away from the wall, so that's what I used. Anyways, I pulled that line down with the laser, and I made myself a nice Sharpie mark right here, right next to all of the mouse doo-doo. And I did the same thing on the other side. I pulled a chalk line and I struck it right there on the floor. So that chalk line is gonna be the furthest outside point of my treated bottom plate. About 1.5 inches on this one away from it. So that kind of tells me that that one was plumb. And then this one is maybe about 1.25 inches. So they're a little bit off, but my wall will be perfect. I also shot that laser horizontally to give me a nice horizontal reference point. And then I used Sharpie and I just kind of marked everywhere where that laser was on the posts. And that is gonna set me up for where I'm gonna mount all that trim to accept that metal wainscoting. Just to be clear, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not claiming to be. I have done a lot of carpentry work and framing. There's lots of ways to do this. This is just the way that I'm doing it. I got that treated bottom plate installed. It is nice and straight and it looks great. And yes, I did mean to rhyme right there. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up kind of almost like a chair rail. I'm gonna put two 2x4s, stack them on top of each other, and those are gonna run straight across all the way down, and that'll be right at the same height as the top of the galvanized wainscoting that I'm gonna install. So I'm gonna set my laser up on the edge of that bottom plate, and that should match up perfectly to the edge of that top plate up there. I'll get myself a vertical line, and I'm gonna install that board. It's gonna be about 4 foot tall, and then I'll do the same thing on that corner, and then I can run a string all the way across. That way I can keep that wall nice and plumb. Now I could just use a 4 foot level and just come off of this bottom plate, level it up, and get my distance there off the post, but I'm just way too into anal, or I am anal, and I want this thing to be perfect. I need my damn tool belt. What the I found the problem. I haven't used this thing in probably 6 months. And I think a mud dauber got down into that air inlet and it was all clogged up, so it's good now. It's still a piece of crap, but it's good. Of course that board cracked. Why wouldn't it? Freaking garbage. Right there. Okay. So I have the laser set up and it's shining right on the edge of the outside of that bottom plate. And like I said, that of course lines up perfectly with the top plate there. I've got the edge of my 2x4 right on that line, all the way down, as long as I don't block the laser. So I'll do the same thing on the opposite side, and then I'll put the string line from the front of this, pull it all the way across the face of all these posts, and then I can make sure that wall stays nice and plumb. I don't want to say level. I'll get destroyed if I said that. Plumb. The string is in. You can get a better idea of what I meant now. I just threw a screw in there. I got that string just on the outside. Actually, I need to run that in a little bit further. That string is going all the way across, and it's just hovering off of the post. So now if I was to take my 4 foot level, keep it tight on the bottom, and just come over and touch that string perfectly level. Now I'm probably making this a little bit more difficult than it has to be. This is just what makes sense to me in my head. Another critter hole, little bastards. Can't imagine that every one of these posts that go up are perfect. I'm sure they're all a little bit out of whack. The idea is to get the whole plane of my new wall perfect. So it's gonna be floating off these posts a little bit different as it goes up. Anyways, I'm going to kind of zip through this next part, get some more progress done. We can kind of take another look at it. There's really nothing all that appealing about this video, in my opinion. Hopefully you guys might get some value out of it if you're working on a similar project. I think framing out interior barn walls is a pretty common thing, so I wanted to share this. But again, this is just how I'm doing it. Well, the lower section of the wall is complete for the most part. I do still have to put some backers right around the middle area, I guess like a nailer when I put that sheet metal on there. A screw up top, a screw at the bottom, and I want to have one in the middle too, so that'll have to go this way. But hopefully you guys get the idea now what I was trying to accomplish. Basically I just notched around each one of the columns there, the posts, and then over here in the corner I just put another backer in there because the other corner is going to kind of tie in. I want somewhere for that J channel to mount. So it's kind of like a chair rail going all the way across here, and I have a double plate, and that area right there is pretty much where that galvanized wainscoting is going to go. The rest of the way up is going to be the tongue and groove red cedar. Again, this is just the way that I'm doing it, but this was my thought as far as doing this setup here. For one, I know it's not in the middle of the overall height of the building, but this is going to give the space between the posts a little bit more strength, because if I would have done full on 14-foot 2x4s from floor to ceiling, I do feel like I would have lost a little bit of strength, and I think that this kind of beefs it up. But the main reason was finding a straight 14-footer is just about as easy as finding a straight 16-footer, which obviously we don't have any. So I grabbed 8-footers, cut them in half for the lower section, and I have nice straight 10-footers from here the rest of the way up. And that's gonna give me a really true, nice, plumb wall. I mean, there's no turning back now. So, wife is home. She was coaching the 5th grade team tonight. It is 8:30, so I'm gonna call it a night, go spend some time with the girls. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm gonna come out here, finish all of the upper framing here. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a little bit more time consuming, so I'll have to use the scaffold. But it'll be nice to have a fresh start on this wall and not all that disgusting crap that was on there before. We'll see you in the morning. Hi-ya! Oop, it's locked. Should have known better. It is a new day, and I have lots of goodies that have arrived here. Let me show you what I got. Before I show you all this good stuff behind me, if you guys have been enjoying the shop build out, I have lots more videos coming. Probably 4 for sure that I know of, because I really can't leave this undone. I need to get it put back together so I can continue to function in the shop and make other videos. Lots of work goes into these videos. I do everything. I do all the editing, I do all the filming. Obviously, I'm the one doing all the projects. I try to answer all your guys' emails and as many comments as I can. So please consider subscribing to the channel. And if anything, just at least like the videos. That really does help us out and pushes the video through the YouTube algorithm. That's all I got on that. Let's check this out. So this is gonna be a bit of a sneak peek for what's to come. As far as the shop build out goes, what I have here are a bunch of parts and pieces for the shop ventilation. When I'm running the welders and the Boss plasma table, those machines do produce some smoke. It's not something I really want to be breathing in, and it's gonna get the shop all smoked up, so I want to have a way to suck that out of here and get some fresh air in. So I have 2 electronic dampers. I've got an exhaust vent, an intake vent. I've got a couple of vents for the inside of the shop on the ceiling. I've got an inline duct fan. I think it's like 800 CFM. It's not a crazy amount, but I don't really need much. And then I have some insulated flex pipe. It's a 8-inch. So I should be working on that ventilation system probably in, I'd say probably 2 or 3 weeks. But if you want to catch that video, the best thing you can do is subscribe. And for all my truck lovers out there, I mean, I guess Ford lovers too. Real Truck hooked me up. They did not have to do this, but they're such a great company to work with. I highly recommend them for any of your truck needs. They pretty much have everything that you'll ever dream of getting for your truck. But they sent me some airbags. We're finally gonna fix the squatted Chevy. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to this, but hopefully sooner than later. It's probably gonna be after I get the shop all built out and at least functional again. One more thing. Sound deadening panels, glass fiber acoustic panels. These are going to be for the shop. I'm going to be mounting these on the ceiling. I have 4 of them right here, and just these 4 alone, over $300. And I still have to get 4 more. Back on the project, framing this wall. I was thinking about something last night when I went in. I'm kind of curious what side of the fence you guys are on with this. When I was still working as an electrician, I had to get up early and get going early. Our hours were 7 to 3:30, and I'd be out of the house by usually around 5:30 in the morning. Now that I'm doing YouTube full time, I typically get up around 6:45, 7 o'clock, wake up, hang out with the girls for a little bit. Just kind of a slow start to the mornings usually. Where I really gain a lot of momentum is toward the end of the day. I kind of like working more later. I don't know if it's because it's the pressure of not getting anything done at the end of the day, so I really kick it in gear. Let me know in the comments, do you guys like to get working early and have the evenings to relax, or do you kind of dick around in the morning and then really kick it in gear at night? Let me know. Now, I did notice one thing that I hate about spray foam. It is obviously great stuff and it's great insulation. Let me show you what my struggle was. Maybe you guys caught it in the time lapse, it was harder to see. The spray foam is very inconsistent. Some places it's kind of in a little further, some places it's kind of bubbled out a little bit more. And when I was putting all these studs in place, I had to put the stud up and then mark it and actually cut that foam out so that the stud would fit in there. So you can kind of see as we look down it, it's covering almost half of the stud. Some of them were wide open. I didn't have to touch it at all. Yeah, there's a lot of places where I was trimming spray foam and it's kind of a mess. So I guess the point is, if you decide to get spray foam insulation in any building, make sure you have anything and everything that you need installed in those walls, because once you put that spray foam in, it's going to be a battle if you want to add something else, especially if you want to frame it. All right, enough chit chat. I need to get back to work here and get this upper section framed, because I need to get this wrapped up. Case in point, this is what sucks about spray foam. I still have a lot more to go. I have to do all of this before I could even start framing any of this upper section. All right. Ah! Damn it. Oh, you know what? Dummy. There we go. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. All right. It is 5:31 Thursday night, and I have determined that I'm not going to get this finished tonight. I mean, I probably could. Maybe. This damn spray foam is killing me. It's just killing the job. Every stud I put in, I have to trim foam. Freaking nightmare. I mean, it's good stuff, but I hate it. Ah! Damn it! Gets me every time. I just want to show you guys the difference. Typically, when they do the interior framing in a post frame building or a pole barn, they're going to run those girts horizontal just like they do on the outside of the building. And they do not have a lot of strength. Like you saw earlier in the video, you can push on those things and they will move a lot because the 2x4 just doesn't have any strength laying flat. Building this wall like a normal conventional wall in a house has added so much strength to this, it's not even funny. There are things that I want to hang on this wall, one of them being a steel rack for all my square tube, and I want it to be strong, and now it's strong. Hopefully you got a little bit of value out of this. I'm gonna assume probably not. But maybe. I'll wrap up the rest of this framing probably Saturday night and into Sunday. We're supposed to get like 12 inches of snow here in southern Indiana. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. It should be pretty fun. Take the girls out, maybe do a little sledding, just beam them with snowballs as hard as I can. I'll have fun for sure. Since I'm not gonna get it done tonight, I figured I'd go support my beautiful wife, the Keystone Girl. She's coaching the 5th grade girls team tonight, and the game starts at 6, so I have like 15 minutes to get there. Otherwise, we're gonna continue on this project. I'll have the framing done in the next video. I won't bore you guys with any more of that. We're gonna be starting on the electrical finally, getting all the mechanical in, finishing the airline. I got some speaker wire to run. No, actually some camera wire to run. Speaker's not getting any wire. And most important, I'm gonna give you guys some basic conduit bending tips. We're just gonna use some 1/2-inch conduit. I'll show you like 3 or 4 of the basic bends. So if you have a little project at home, you can have a little bit of an advantage going into it so your conduit doesn't look like absolute shit. I cannot stand how destroyed this shop is right now. I also have an update on the slab jacking situation. I'll just tell you now, I guess. I think I'm gonna do it myself for sure. I do think cutting out the whole slab would be best. The only problem right now is some people mentioned in the comments, I would have to pay a minimum for concrete, and this is really not a lot of concrete here. So I think what I'm gonna do is wait for more concrete work where I could do 2 jobs at the same time and not have to pay all that extra money in concrete. For the time being, I think I'm gonna core a hole, jack it up, fill it up with some Quickcrete, and then we'll just see how it does. That's just temporary. We're only talking about a 1/2 inch. I mean, a 1/2 inch. In the long run, if it does continue to settle, I'll cut out the whole slab. I'll run conduits and all that other crap underneath to the plasma table, and I'll just pour a whole new slab. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. I sure hope so. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to sell a kidney. Damn it. Spray foam. What do I call it? Preliminary work? I feel like a damn ice sculptor out here. Basically what I am, just with foam. Whew. He should be illegal. Por tener la esperanza de un mundo sin sufrir y más cumbia mexicana.